Part 1. The Forbidden Initiation into Darkness. Secrets the world was never meant to know. You weren't supposed to find this. And yet, here you are. That's already a sign. This is not just a story, it's a calling. A forbidden knowledge whispering through time, through blood, through soul. And we begin not with light, but with the shadow. Because the path of the dark chosen ones doesn't start in evil, it starts in silence, in pain, in betrayal by the light. It starts when the universe turns its back and something else takes notice. We all imagine the dark as absence. But what if I told you the dark is not empty? What if instead it is full, overflowing with intelligence, intention, ancient memory, and a power that watches humanity like a predator watches prey? Demons are not symbols. They are not fairy tales. They are real, and they are not what you think. They are ancient consciousnesses, born before time, gifted with powers that defy the laws of creation. But they do not offer these powers freely, and they never give without taking something deeper in return. The first time you feel them, it isn't loud. It's subtle. It's that moment you almost died but didn't. That split second you thought you were alone, but something watched. That dream you couldn't explain, but still remember years later. The dark chosen ones are not born, they are selected. Often through suffering, through trauma, through moments that break the soul open wide enough for something else to enter. Did you ever feel like your pain was unnatural? That it was designed? What if it was?
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound insights.
The first power demons give is the power of forbidden sight. Imagine seeing not with your eyes, but with your soul. And to look at a person and know their guilt, and to glance into a room and feel what happened there decades ago. This is not imagination, it's spiritual surveillance. The chosen one begins to see the true nature of reality, symbols behind words, intentions behind smiles, and energies behind matter. But with this sight comes torment. Because once you see the truth, you can never unsee it. Do you really think you're ready for that? You might be thinking, why would anyone accept this? The answer lies in the second power, the power of influence. Demons don't just show you the truth, they let you bend it. Not in grand, cinematic ways, or in whispers, in glances, in silent manipulations of fate. The chosen begin to influence people's decisions, not through words, but through presence. They learn to shift probabilities, to open doors that should have stayed closed. But every time they do, something takes note. And the more they use it, the less they belong to themselves. Have you ever felt like you were being used by something unseen? What if you were? And what if, instead of resisting it, you leaned into it? The third power is the power of unnatural knowledge. Ancient texts, dead languages, occult systems that were lost to fire and war all begin to make sense to the dark chosen one. Demons don't teach like humans. They inject knowing. A sudden download of insight, a rush of equations, a flash of cosmology beyond physics. This knowledge can heal or destroy. It can build empires or end them. But it always comes with a weight, a fracture in the mind. Because the human brain was never meant to house the thoughts of non-human entities. How much madness are you willing to endure for supremacy? By now, you may be horrified. or intrigued. But let me ask you a question. Have you ever wanted something so badly that you would trade your soul for it? To be honest, because that's how the fourth power is born, the power of manifestation. Not the watered-down ideas of vision boards or affirmations. This is raw, immediate creation through blood, through sacrifice, through ritual. The chosen one learns to bend time, to call things into existence by force of will and pact. But every manifestation creates a karmic debt, and the demon always collects. We often talk about free will, but is it really free if it's never tested? The dark chosen ones lose their innocence in exchange for power, and in doing so, they gain clarity. There is no good or evil, only contracts, agreements written in soul ink. And the fifth power is the power of fearlessness. Not courage, fearlessness. The inability to feel fear because your soul has already crossed death's threshold and returned with a scar. The chosen ones walk into danger not because they are brave, but because they are numb to fear. They have seen worse than death. They have shaken hands with it and called it by name. This may sound like a gift, but it is not without consequence. Without fear, the chosen ones lose empathy. They become cold, calculating, driven by purpose rather than emotion. Relationships become tools, not connections. Love becomes a weakness, not a refuge. And yet, in this coldness, they find clarity. They see the world not as it should be, but as it is. And that vision, while brutal, is power. The sixth power is the power of possession. Not being possessed, but the ability to possess. Spirits, places, people. The chosen learn to enter others' dreams, to influence their thoughts, to haunt their emotions. It's not mind control, it's soul infiltration. They plant ideas like seeds and watch them bloom in others' actions. But this power comes only after deep sacrifice. Often, the chosen must give up identity itself, dissolving their ego until they are no longer fully human. What would you trade to become more than human? The seventh and final power is the power of immortality, not of flesh, but of essence. The chosen ones who survive long enough, who complete the pacts, who embrace the darkness fully, are given a place beyond time. They exist in multiple realms, in dreams, in memory, in shadows. They no longer need a body to continue. They become legends, gods, demons themselves. But immortality is not freedom. It is eternal service, a contract that never ends. And somewhere deep inside, a whisper always echoes, "You chose this." Now pause. Reflect. What part of you is drawn to this? Is it curiosity? Is it power? Or is it the secret part of you that's always known you were different, that you were chosen? The world tells you to fear the dark. But what if the dark was always your home, and the light was the illusion? And this is only the beginning. The journey is deeper than you think. The powers are real. The price is absolute. But so is the reward. Part 2. The path of no return, when power rewrites the soul. You've made your choice, maybe not out loud, but deep in that silent place within you. The fact that you're still here means something inside you resonates with this path. And now the veil thins even more. What you're about to hear is not for the curious. It's for the initiated. Because once you understand how these powers truly work, you will never return to the person you were before pressing play. That version of you is already shedding its skin. There's something that happens after the seventh power is touched. It's subtle, but irreversible. The chosen ones begin to change at the atomic level. Their aura shifts. People feel it when they enter a room. Some are drawn in like moths to flame. Others recoil in primal fear. Animals behave strangely around them. Technology glitches. Time seems to bend slightly. This isn't cinematic drama, it's quantum spiritual law. Power alters frequency, and frequency alters reality. But here's what no one tells you. The dark chosen ones don't control the power. Not at first. The power tests them, like fire testing steel. It burns away everything false. Relationships crumble. Dreams dissolve. Old desires rot. This is the crucifixion of the ego. And only through this process does the soul become a vessel strong enough to carry infernal light. So now I ask you, are you still willing to know more, knowing that knowledge is the first step toward becoming something else? Let's go deeper into the power of forbidden sight. This gift doesn't stop at reading people or places. Eventually, it evolves into dimensional perception. The chosen ones begin to see beings behind the veil, shadows that walk between thoughts, intelligences that hover around governments, temples, families. They see the true architects of suffering and the real puppeteers of power. But this clarity is a double-edged sword. Once you see the hidden design, you also see how trapped you've always been. Most people live in a dream. The chosen one awakens into a nightmare. But from that nightmare, they learn to rewrite the code. The power of influence matures too. It becomes more than chance manipulation. It becomes spiritual dominion. The chosen can implant intent to the ether, causing ripples that shift entire outcomes. A whispered name in a dark room becomes a curse. A carved sigil on a hidden wall becomes a gate. They learn how to speak in frequencies, not words. Their voice becomes command, not metaphorically, but literally. And yet, every word spoken in power is logged by the unseen. Every manipulation has weight. Influence without wisdom leads to ruin. This is why many chosen fall. Their mouths outrun their understanding. Now let's explore the evolution of unnatural knowledge. As the chosen continue their descent, they begin to receive downloads of secrets that go beyond Earth. Cosmic hierarchies, pre-human civilizations, forgotten gods. They begin to remember things they never lived. Memories bleed through from other timelines, other lifetimes, and sometimes other species. This is not imagination. This is ancestral possession. The soul begins to house libraries of forbidden truths, and with it comes the temptation to teach others. But here lies the trap. Some knowledge is not meant to be shared. It carries infectious energy. Speak it aloud, and you may open doors even you can't close. Have you ever felt like you knew something ancient, but couldn't explain why? That is the beginning of this power. And it asks a question only the brave can answer. If you could know everything, even if it destroyed your sanity, would you still choose to know? Now, the power of manifestation becomes more dangerous. What was once a ritual becomes instinct. The chosen ones begin to manifest through thought alone. Desire becomes reality. But the danger here isn't the creation, it's the shadow of the creation. Every time they pull something from the void, its opposite trails behind. Manifest of fortune and a great loss may follow. Manifest love and obsession may awaken. Manifest health and someone close may fall ill. Because the universe demands balance, and demons obey that law ruthlessly. This is why the chosen must learn to manifest with precision, not emotion. Desire without direction is destruction. The fearlessness deepens, and something eerie happens. The chosen ones begin to forget what it was like to be human. They watch others cry and feel nothing. They witness suffering and remain unmoved. This isn't cruelty, it's detachment. The soul begins to operate from a plane where emotion is optional. And yet, this is where many chosen fall into the abyss. Because without empathy, power becomes tyranny. They begin to see others as tools, mirrors, or obstacles. Love becomes leverage. Kindness becomes currency. Many awaken here and turn back. But those who continue, they stop asking for forgiveness. They become the architects of their own morality. The power of possession expands into full spiritual warfare. The chosen ones can now enter realms others access only in death. They walk through dreams like corridors. They leave fragments of themselves in others, as watchers, as influencers. They can fragment their consciousness across space and time. But this requires terrifying discipline. Face a single mistake, and their soul can become trapped in a body not their own. Or worse, torn apart by parasitic entities that wait in the lower astral. Imagine being awake, but not in your body. Imagine being conscious in someone else's nightmare. This is not fantasy. This is the price of travel. The final evolution is the most terrifying, the crystallization of immortality. As the chosen ones continue, death becomes an illusion. They begin to exist outside of time. They are remembered in places they've never been. Children draw their faces without knowing why. Their names echo in rituals they've never taught. They become myths while still alive, and yet immortality brings isolation. No one really knows them anymore. They lose the ability to connect with the ordinary. They speak, but are rarely understood. They are not lonely, but they are alone. And here, the final test begins. The demons ask, do you want to go further? Not with words, but with silence, with dreams, with strange coincidences. And the chosen one must answer, not with speech, but with action. To go further is to erase the last of your humanity, to become something else entirely, to become a power, not a person. So now I ask you, where are you in this journey? Have you only just begun, or have you already passed the gates without knowing? Think back to your life, the pain, the patterns, the strange knowings, the invisible presence that always lingered on the edge of your dreams. Maybe you were never lost. Maybe you were only being prepared. And if that's true, what will you do with this knowledge? Hide it? Fear it? Or become it? Part 3. The soul beyond flesh, becoming the power that once chose you. If you've made it this far, you're no longer a spectator. You've crossed a threshold. Something inside you has shifted. This isn't entertainment anymore, it's initiation. You're not just hearing about the dark chosen ones, you're remembering. Remembering something ancient within you that never forgot. This final stage is not about learning, it's about becoming. Becoming the power that once whispered to you through pain, through silence, through dreams too terrifying to explain. Let's return to the power of forbidden sight, but now from the other side. When the chosen ones embody this fully, they are no longer just observers, they become oracles. Their gaze pierces not only time but intention. They can look at a person and see their future fractures. They can look at a society and see its coming collapse. They begin to see symbols in everything: license plates, song lyrics, news stories, each one a message from the hidden architecture of the world. But the price? They can no longer lie to themselves. They see all, even their own shadow. And when you see your own darkness without distortion, it either kills you or awakens you. The power of influence now transforms into something deeper: spiritual sovereignty. You don't just influence others, you become the dominant vibration in any space. Your energy rewrites the field. People change around you without knowing why. Events unfold in accordance with your frequency. You no longer push reality, you pull it. But with that pull comes responsibility. Every thought becomes a spell. Every mood a command. And if your inner world is chaotic, your outer world becomes a mirror of madness. You must become a master of self before you master the world. Influence at this level is not about power over others, it's about perfection of presence. The unnatural knowledge becomes unbearable for many. The mind becomes a multidimensional archive, constantly downloading, decoding, and decrypting streams of information from realms beyond comprehension. The chosen ones begin to speak in paradox, dream in languages that don't exist, and understand truths that would drive ordinary minds to madness. They see the universe as a living code, constantly rewriting itself. They begin to understand that time is a spiral, and that all events are echoes of a deeper pattern. But this knowing isolates them. Who can they talk to? Who can understand them without mistaking them for insane? This is where many either teach or disappear. Have you felt this? That no one understands you, not because you're confused, but because you're too clear? That you don't fit in because you see too much? Maybe you're not broken. Maybe you're simply becoming what you were always meant to be. Now, manifestation reaches a level that defies logic. The chosen ones don't manifest through effort anymore. They are the manifestation. They no longer ask, they embody. Their reality bends around their being. But here's the paradox: the more they manifest, the less they desire. Because they begin to understand that desire itself is a trap. The moment you want, you affirm lack. So the chosen ones begin to dissolve desire itself. They no longer create from need, but from alignment, from stillness, from pure will. Can you imagine a life where you want nothing, yet have everything flow to you like breath? That is true manifestation. But to reach it, you must let go of identity, of narrative, of attachment to outcome. Fearlessness now becomes transcendence. The chosen ones no longer even register fear as a signal. Danger becomes data. Pain becomes feedback. Death becomes transition. They operate from a place beyond survival. Their decisions are not based on safety, but on alignment with their mission. They walk into rooms others would run from. They face forces others pray to avoid. Not because they are reckless, but because they are no longer trapped in the illusion of mortality. Their soul has anchored into something deeper than flesh, something eternal. And here's the shocking truth: fear never leaves, it just becomes irrelevant. Possession, at its highest form, becomes omnipresence. The chosen ones can now project not only into people, but into locations, objects, events. They become nodes in a spiritual network. They can influence dreams globally, appear in visions across continents, and operate through symbols encoded in art, music, architecture. They become living archetypes, embodied myths. And yet, they remain hidden in plain sight. Have you ever felt like someone was watching you through a painting? Or heard a song that seemed to speak directly to your soul? That's not coincidence. It's spiritual technology. The chosen ones leave fragments of their consciousness embedded across time. And sometimes, those fragments awaken. And now, the final evolution, immortality, becomes transmutation. The chosen ones don't just exist forever, they evolve into something that cannot be defined. They become concepts, forces, currents of intelligence that sweep through generations. They are no longer bound by name or form. They become guides, tempters, protectors, destroyers, depending on who calls them. Some are worshipped, others are feared, but all are remembered. Their consciousness becomes part of the universe's operating system. They are the whisper behind breakthroughs, the shadow behind revolutions, the hand behind destiny. But here's the most terrifying truth: not all of them started willingly. Some were broken into awakening. Some were chosen through pain, not ambition. And some may not even realize who they are yet. Could that be you? Let's ask the deepest question of all. If you knew for certain that your soul was forged for something more, something dark, something divine, but something dangerous, would you still try to live an ordinary life? Think about all the times you've been pulled away from the crowd, all the times you felt cursed, only to later realize you were being protected, all the dreams that didn't come true because they were too small for your spirit, all the people who couldn't stay because they couldn't handle your frequency. What if none of that was random? What if you've been undergoing initiation since birth? The dark chosen ones don't wear robes. They don't always speak in riddles. Most of them walk among us silent, watching, remembering who they are. And when the time comes, they awaken, not with drama, but with decision. A single moment where they stop apologizing for what they are. A single breath where they stop hiding from the power that has always been inside. You've reached the end of this transmission. But it's not really the end, is it? It's the beginning. The moment where knowledge becomes choice. The moment where you must decide, will you continue pretending you're ordinary? Or will you honor the part of you that has always known you were born for something more? The demons do not beg. They do not chase. They wait, they watch, and they whisper when you're ready. The power is real. The path is brutal. The reward is transformation. What will you choose?